After praying Maghrib, Wali Paidi went straight to Jalan Soekarno Hatta. After crossing the bridge, Wali Paidi turned left. After walking about 1 kilometer, Wali Paidi saw the Habib he was looking for. The Habib he thought was a pedicab driver. Wali Paidi saw the Habib entering a distro shop. Wali Paidi turned his bike to the right. There was a sign in front of the shop, Morkel Outlet. Wali Paidi looked around in front of the shop, looking for the Habib who had run there. Maybe I saw wrong, why isn't he here? Thought Wali Paidi not long after. A tall young man with a rather thin build came out and approached Wali Paidi. "Kong, you said you were boarding school, how come you're hanging out here?" said the young man. Wow, Moss is powerful, how come you're here, bro?" said Wali Paidi in surprise. It turned out that Wali Paidi knew this tall young man. He was Moss Sakti, who Wali Paidi considered as his older brother. Even though Moss Sakti was younger than Wali Paidi, after teasing each other, Moss Sakti invited him into the shop. "Let's have coffee upstairs." "Bro," Moss Sakti invited them as they climbed the stairs to the top of the shop. Wali Paidi and Moss Sakti continued their conversation while drinking coffee. Sometimes they laughed out loud. And sometimes in between their conversations they both said, "Amen, amen." Wali Paidi stretched his legs and lay down. Moss Sakti sat in front of him while reading an old newspaper. "What are you reading, Moss?" asked Wali Paidi. "I'm reading Ahmad Dani being demonstrated against," answered Moss Sakti. "About what, Moss?" asked Wali Paidi again. "This is Ahmad Dani during the concert stepping on the word Allah. The logo of the god has a series of the words Allah. While on the stage floor there is a large picture of the logo of the god that has the word Allah," answered Moss Sakti. "What do you think, sir?" asked Wali Paidi. Moss Sakti was silent for a while. After putting down his newspaper and sipping his coffee, Moss Sakti lit his mild cigarette, then said, "According to the Sharia, Dani is wrong, but in essence, we all stand on the word Allah," answered Moss Sakti. "What do you mean and what is the clear example, sir?" asked Wali Paidi. Moss Sakti stood up and called his friend who was below. "Ping! Please take your glasses and bring them here," said Moss Sakti. Not long after, Moss Sakti's friend came with glasses and handed them to Moss Sakti. "You wear these glasses," said the powerful man while handing him his glasses. Wali Paidi sat down and put on the glasses given by the powerful man. "Oh Allah, Allahu Akbar," screamed the powerful man. In the view of the guardian Paidi, all the walls of the shop and the floor were strung together with the words of Allah. The guardian looked down. The floor he was sitting on was strung together with many words of Allah. The guardian Paidi was a bit scared seeing all this. And the guardian Paidi also saw the breath coming out of the nose of the powerful Moss Sakti, forming the words of Allah. In the view of the guardian Paidi, the entire surface of the earth was a series of words of Allah. The guardian Paidi, with tears in his eyes, handed back the glasses to the powerful Moss Sakti. The powerful Moss Sakti accepted it with a smile. Then he said, "If the veil of our hearts were opened by Allah, then all objects and the entire surface of the earth were strung together with the words of Allah. How shameless we would be if we committed sins above the series of words of Allah, ungrateful to Him while we were on His earth." The guardian Paidi sobbed even more, and could not be prevented from crying loudly. The guardian Paidi was silent above the Morkl distro. The powerful Moss Sakti smilingly watched the guardian Paidi in front of him. A very long silence befell them. "Just sleep here, bro," said Moss Sakti. "Later, I'm not sleepy yet," Moss replied Wali Paidi. But not long after that, Wali Paidi felt very sleepy, and could not be prevented. Wali Paidi finally fell asleep. In his sleep, Wali Paidi had a dream that seemed not to be a dream. because in his dream Wali Paidi seemed to be sitting in front of Mas Sakti exactly like when he was awake. Suddenly there was a sound blur, 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 in front of the shop. Wali Paidi stood up and walked to the shop window. Wali Paidi saw Mas Sakti's brother come riding a Harley, wearing a black jacket and pants. This Mas Sakti's brother got off his motorbike. Wali Paidi smiled when he saw this Mas Sakti's brother take off his helmet. His haircut was really cool, the right and left sides were shaved off, leaving the middle to the back long. Wali Paidi in his dream just kept quiet. He saw Mas Sakti come down to greet his brother, not long after they both went up to the shop. Wali Paidi came forward and kissed the hand of Mas Sakti's brother. "This is Wali Paidi said Mas Sakti's brother. "Inga Mas, Nggih Nikki Loreen," answered Mas Sakti. After drinking coffee and smoking for a while there was another sound blur, blur. Apparently another Harley came. "That's Bang Ike Tarangan has arrived, let's go, come on you too," said the elder brother Mas Sakti to Wali Paidi. Wali Paidi rode pillion with Ike Tarangan, while Mas Sakti rode pillion with his older brother. Wali Paidi, in his entire life, had never felt riding a Harley at high speed before. Wali Paidi felt in his dream as if the road he was on was leading to the sky. The four of them had just stopped when in front of them stood a magnificent, very beautiful palace. Wali Paidi, Ike Tarangan, Mas Sakti and his older brother immediately got off the motorbike and walked towards the palace. Wali Paidi saw the earth seen from above seemed to be covered in blue light. Ozone layer, thought Wali Paidi. Brother Mas Sakti approached Wali Paidi. By patting Wali Paidi's shoulder, Brother Mas Sakti said, "What you see is indeed called the ozone layer by many. Actually, the blue layer that surrounds the earth is the light of faith that radiates from the hearts of every Muslim. If the faith of Muslims becomes thinner, then the blue layer will also become thinner, and sunlight will directly penetrate the earth. If the light of faith runs out, then the apocalypse will occur." Brother Mas Sakti explained to Wali Paidi. After explaining about the ozone layer, Brother Mas Sakti invited Ike Tarangan and his younger brother to enter the palace. "It's not time for you to go in yet, just guard the motorbike outside," said Brother Mas Sakti to Wali Paidi. "Ha ha ha ha, take it easy, you can go in soon," joked Mas Sakti. "Ready boss," said Wali Paidi. To be continued.